Video games can do something that no other medium can. You can create this world and then ask the player to live in it. Everybody has been touched by cancer. The game creates this kind of safe space to talk about a hard thing because I put my heart on the table and it's okay.
I loved it.
Thank you.
That was great. Man. And when you're sitting in there and you're listening to his narration, his kind of raspy, light narration, it's that emotionally you're there, and no game really gets to mess with that.
Welcome to Family Gamer TV. I'm with Ryan Green and Josh Larson, and you're making a quite unusual indie game in the Indiecade called That Dragon Cancer. Is that right?
Yes, that's right. That Dragon Cancer is a story of my son. I have 4 sons, and my 3rd son, Joel, has been fighting terminal cancer for the last 3 years.
So what was it about you and your story that you've brought those two things together?
My wife and I are creative people, you know, and for us, I don't know what else we'd do. You know, when we talk about Joel, we talk about our life, we talk about our faith, and we do all those things in a public forum. And so I'm a programmer by trade, and I'm a video game programmer as of the last couple years. And the thing that I discovered in video games is just that video games can do something that no other medium can. You can create this world and then ask the player to live in it and to love what you've created.
So Josh, I can see you sort of nodding along there, particularly when you're talking about video games having meaning.
I think video games have the potential to explore all the different parts of the human experience. And so our interest with video games is to explore deeper themes about grace, about hope in the face of death. And video games seem like a really unique opportunity to do that because you're inviting the player in, the player has some element of free will or agency, and then you as the creator also have a certain amount of sovereignty.
So we've got the game running here, and people have obviously been coming over to play it. Could you maybe just give us a very brief sort of introduction about what the experience is that they're having?
This scene represents one night in particular, which was one of the darkest nights of the experience with Joel. And it was a night that he was dehydrated when he had caught a stomach bug, and his ability to fight infection was low. And so, but it was one of those moments where you're in this place as a father where you have no control and no power, and there's a certain desperation there. But it's a moment where we felt grace, and grace for me is that other thing that's happening, you know, outside of our reality, that something else is at work, you know, and so peace came when I was praying. And it was just one of those beautiful moments that I wanted to invite somebody into because it was really desperate, but it ended up being very beautiful. The full game will be a much wider range of experience with Joel. It's not all dark. Joel has an amazing laugh, and I'd love to put his laugh in the game. And there's just these moments of beauty, and there's these moments where of transition where I didn't fear death anymore, you know. And I think that those moments are important to me, and I hope other people find them important as well.
Yeah.
And so I'm not presupposing to teach you anything other than to tell you my story. And my story has prayer in it, you know, like that's how I see the world, and that's important to me, and so it's going to be in the game, you know. And so I think every human, regardless of what they believe, can identify with that.
Yeah, and I had a chance to play the game before E3. Actually, it felt like a very light touch, and quite, in some ways, quite sort of playful and beautiful and tranquil in amongst everything else that was going. Is that maybe something that you can reflect on?
Yeah, I think there's a certain peace and grace that you can find in the midst of a terrible thing, of a struggle. So that's definitely something that we want to be able to share with other people, is that when you're going through something really difficult, there's a light, there's a hope that you can find in it.
I think as humans we can do a lot of damage when we flail, you know, and I think when you find yourself in a hopeless situation, you're like, oh, what do I got to do to fix this? You know, and you can hurt the people around you and forcing them to make decisions that they don't need to make, or to worry about things that they don't have to worry about. And so there's a certain tranquility and there's a certain peace found in rest. And for me, rest is faith, and that's how I equate it.
Huh. The sunset looks pretty from here. The orange glow cast on the wall, better than the muted colors of this hospital. I wonder why they choose blues and greens. They, the ones who choose the colors that heal. Green for life. Blue for comfort. Purple stripes to hide the stains. This chair is too small and sticks to my skin. I hate vinyl.
So in terms of what the game's about or what it's communicating, have some people heard some of the things you're saying and sort of been like backing off and, oh, I'm not a Christian, or I'm not a person of faith, this isn't for me?
Actually, no, I can't think of a situation in which somebody felt offended by my theology. I think that more likely that I didn't have permission to do what I did. And there's that moment of like, oh, like I did something to you that, and I'm a stranger, and I didn't have permission to. But overall, people have been very receptive, and I think more than anything, they identify it in their own way. Everybody has been touched by cancer, and so they all have their own stories. And I think the most beautiful thing about talking about such a tough subject is as soon as I share my story, they want to share theirs. Yeah, the game creates this kind of permissive space, this safe space to talk about a hard thing, because I've kind of put my heart on the table, and it's okay, you know? When you share those like moments of intimacy, I think that it changes you.
And is there a particular moment in the game that you would pull out? Maybe if people are trying to imagine what it's like to play it?
So there's a moment in the game where you actually leave the hospital room and you're kind of looking back in on it. And that's something that I really connected with, was Ryan talking about how it kind of felt adventurous at first. And then once he started to experience more of it, he just grew to like kind of almost become embittered by it or disillusioned by it.
I didn't used to. For a moment it was an adventure. I was cast as the compassionate and caring father, holed up with his fragile son in a small cleft in the rocks. The storm raging, waves ripping at the sharp black rocks below, and enveloped in my arms, he feels safe, and I am holding him firmly, trying not to slip. Because if you hold tight enough, nothing will take him.
And just the heart and the idea that you just want to protect your son, and that everything that you're going through, you know, that your heart is to just love him. That's something that you can really connect with and empathize with as a player, I think.
I loved it. I loved it. Thank you. That was great. Man. I mean, there's so much in the sound.
Yeah,
so much
your
narration.
Yeah.
Got it.
Thank you.
I mean, I think that's a large component to that. Just that heartfelt, you know, just being able to say that, you know, describe it out, and it's so genuine, you know, and so.
And just, I don't know. I think it's really gives people a chance to experience something that they might not have experienced themselves, or to either, or otherwise to empathize and connect with their own loss.
And so part of your story about the game now is that it's gathered up quite a head of steam. There's been quite a lot of interest online. We've talked about it, you know, I've heard of it and I've read about it on video game websites. So how's that story going forward? And obviously we're here at Indiecade at E3. That must be exciting, and you know, how's it going? What's next?
Yeah, I think this has all been very exciting, all the attention that we've been getting, but it's a very small part of the game. And
it's just 10 minutes, I think.
Yeah, it's just 10 minutes of the game, and we hope to have 7 or 6 other scenes like this. And the game will take place in a children's hospital, but it will have moments in our house. It will have moments in our church. It will have moments in the middle of the night with Joel and my wife and me in our bed. And the next thing that we're going to do is write about some of those things. I wrote a scene just recently about the day Joel was born. And the day Joel was born, it was an emergency C-section, and when he came out, he wasn't breathing. And there have been so many moments in Joel's life in which death has tried to come and get him. And I want to write about those moments. And but at the same time, I also want to write about I want to write about his laugh. I want to write about the way he dances. I want to write about how much his brothers love him and how much he loves his brothers. I want to write about how much I love him and that connection that a father and son have. And I want people to understand God in a different way through the way that I love my son. And I think that is the epitome of what I'm learning is rest in my faith as well as how much I love my son.
Just come straight off the game. What's your reaction to it?
That was very heartfelt. Absolutely, it's a personal journey that, and I was just talking with him. You saw that it was a very personal journey for him. And then when you're sitting in there and you're listening to his narration, his kind of raspy, light narration, dictating this poem he wrote. As you're going through these stages, it's like you're there, like not in the physical sense because kind of the lo-fi graphics and what that, but in the sense that emotionally you're there. And no game really gets to mess with that. Like you see a lot of games advertise that stuff, they claim they're going to do something like that, but then you get in with that, and it's his story.
If someone watching this wants to go and play the game or find out more about the game, what's the best way to do that?
Right. Well, we don't have a public demo yet. We will be showing at a number of other festivals this summer.
And in terms of the website or Twitter, Facebook, all those sorts of things?
Yeah, thatdragoncancer.com.
Cool. And maybe just to finish off, has there been sort of any particular standout responses here at E3 for people who come and play the game?
I got a really amazing hug by a father of 4, and I don't know. It's hard to talk about. It's one of those things, like I was saying, it's those intimate moments that you just share that they add to who you are, and it was amazing.
Yeah.